Royal fans are convinced Meghan Markle is lying about her age. In fact, they think she's older.
A single line in an old magazine. One number that didn't seem important at the time. Yet decades later, that forgotten detail sparked a wave of questions about one of the most talked about women in the world. For years, Meghan Markle's age appeared to be a settled fact. But when an old publication resurfaced, online debates exploded. Was it simply a mistake? Or was there something more to the story? Stay until the end, because the truth behind this controversy is far more surprising than many people realize. It began with something that looked completely harmless. Years after Meghan Markle became one of the most recognized women in the world, internet users started sharing images from an old magazine article that appeared to list a different age than the one most people knew. At first, it seemed like a small detail. Celebrities are mentioned in thousands of articles every year, and mistakes happen all the time. But this was not just any celebrity. By that point, Meghan's life had become a topic of worldwide attention. Every interview, every public appearance, and every headline attracted intense interest. Because of that, the rediscovered magazine clipping quickly gained attention online. People began asking questions. Was the magazine correct? Had the public been given the wrong information for years? Or was this simply an old publishing error that had somehow returned to the spotlight? As screenshots spread across social media platforms, countless users started comparing dates, articles, and public records. Some claimed the magazine had revealed a hidden truth. Others argued that there was no mystery at all. The debate grew larger with every repost. What made the situation even more interesting was the timing. Public interest in Meghan Markle was already extremely high. Supporters and critics were watching every development connected to her life. That meant even a small piece of information could become a major talking point overnight. The world saw a simple magazine page. The internet saw a mystery. And as often happens online, speculation moved much faster than facts. Some content creators began producing videos discussing the issue. Blog posts appeared. Comment sections filled with theories. Many people who had never seen the original publication suddenly found themselves discussing Meghan's age as if it were a major unsolved puzzle. But nobody knew whether the old magazine actually contained accurate information. And that is where the story becomes far more interesting. Because while the online debate was growing louder, another question was quietly emerging in the background. If the magazine was wrong, then what evidence existed to prove Meghan Markle's real age once and for all? The answer would lead investigators, journalists, and curious readers toward official documents that had been available for years, but had largely been ignored during the growing controversy. Before we look at those records, here's a question for you. Do you think old magazine articles can be trusted when they conflict with official information? Share your opinion below. What happened next would begin separating facts from rumors. As the debate continued online, many people focused on the old magazine clipping. But journalists and fact-checkers looked somewhere else. They turned to official records. Unlike rumors, screenshots, and social media posts, official documents can often provide a much clearer picture. In Meghan Markle's case, the information was not hidden behind secret files or private archives. Much of it had already been publicly available for years. According to widely reported records, Meghan Markle was born on August 4, 1981, in Los Angeles, California. Long before she became a member of the British royal family, that birth year appeared in biographies, interviews, school records, entertainment industry profiles, and numerous media reports. Yet the resurfaced magazine article caused some people to question those details. The situation highlights something interesting about modern celebrity culture. Once a question enters the public conversation, many people begin searching for evidence that supports their preferred theory. Information that agrees with their view gets shared widely. Information that contradicts it is often ignored. As a result, the discussion became less about documents and more about speculation. Some internet users pointed to various archived articles from different years. Others searched through old interviews and entertainment databases. In many cases, they found the same birth year repeated again and again. Still, the controversy refused to disappear. Part of the reason was simple. Mysteries attract attention. A straightforward answer rarely spreads as quickly as a surprising claim. The idea that a hidden truth had finally been uncovered was far more exciting to many people than the possibility of a simple publishing mistake. But there was another factor making the story grow. Meghan Markle had already become a deeply polarizing public figure. Since her marriage to Prince Harry, nearly every aspect of her life had been examined, debated, and discussed. Supporters defended her, critics questioned her, and both sides closely followed new developments. This environment created the perfect conditions for a small discrepancy to become a major headline. However, while the public argued over dates and documents, another piece of the story was beginning to emerge. Researchers started looking beyond the magazine itself. Who had published it? When was it printed? Could the age listed have been the result of a routine editorial error? The deeper people looked, the more they discovered that mistakes involving celebrity ages were far from rare. And that realization would completely change how many observers viewed the controversy. Because the internet thought it had found a hidden secret, what it may have found instead was a lesson in how quickly misinformation can spread when curiosity takes control. As online theories continued to grow, professional fact-checkers and journalists began taking a closer look at the claims. Their goal was simple: find the evidence, not the opinions, not the rumors, not the viral posts, the actual evidence. By this stage, countless versions of the story were circulating online. Some claimed the magazine had exposed a hidden secret. Others suggested there were multiple conflicting records. A few even argued that the public had been misled for years. But when investigators examined the available information, they found something very different. Most of the claims traced back to the same source, a decades-old publication that appeared to contain information inconsistent with widely reported records. That alone was not enough to prove anything. In fact, fact-checkers pointed out that publication mistakes happen regularly in entertainment reporting. Celebrities often have incorrect details printed about them, especially during the early stages of their careers when information is gathered quickly and sometimes without extensive verification. The deeper researchers looked, the less the controversy resembled a major revelation. Instead, it began to look like a familiar internet cycle. A surprising claim appeared. People shared it. The claim gained attention. Then evidence was examined only after the story had already spread around the world. By then, many viewers had already made up their minds. And that highlights one of the biggest challenges of the digital era. Corrections rarely travel as fast as controversy. A dramatic headline can reach millions within hours. A careful fact-check may receive only a fraction of the same attention. As a result, public perception can be shaped long before the facts are fully understood. But nobody knew how powerful this effect would become until researchers began comparing public records, historical reporting, and archived information side by side. The conclusions pointed in a consistent direction. The widely reported birth year associated with Meghan Markle remained supported by multiple independent sources over many years. Meanwhile, the claims based on isolated discrepancies lacked comparable evidence. For many observers, that seemed to settle the issue. Yet something surprising happened. The debate did not disappear. Instead, it evolved. People stopped arguing only about Meghan's age and started asking a broader question. Why do celebrity age conspiracies become so popular in the first place? Why are millions of people drawn to these stories, even when strong evidence points elsewhere? The answer has less to do with Meghan Markle and more to do with human nature itself. And understanding that answer may explain why this controversy captured so much attention across the world. By now, the debate was no longer just about Meghan Markle. It had become part of a much larger pattern that appears again and again in celebrity culture. Someone finds an old article, a forgotten photo resurfaces, a document appears online. Then suddenly, millions of people are asking whether they have discovered a hidden truth. But why does this happen so often? The answer begins with curiosity. Human beings naturally look for mysteries. We enjoy solving puzzles and uncovering secrets. When a story suggests that something famous or familiar may not be what it seems, our attention is immediately captured. That is exactly why age-related celebrity rumors spread so quickly. A person's age is simple information. Most people assume it cannot be controversial. So when a claim appears that challenges what everyone believes, it instantly creates intrigue. Could the public have been wrong all along? Could there be more to the story? Those questions encourage clicks, comments, and shares. And social media platforms reward engagement. The more people interact with a post, the more widely it spreads. Soon, a small discussion can become a worldwide conversation. The world saw a debate about numbers, but behind the scenes, algorithms were helping push the story even further. This effect becomes even stronger when the celebrity involved already attracts strong opinions. Few public figures have experienced the level of attention that Meghan Markle has faced in recent years. Supporters often defend her against criticism. Critics frequently challenge her public image. As a result, almost any new claim can become a major talking point. People are not always sharing information because they believe it. Sometimes they share it because it is surprising. Sometimes because it supports an opinion they already hold. And sometimes because they simply do not know whether it is true or false. That is why celebrity controversies often continue long after evidence has been examined. The emotional reaction becomes bigger than the original claim. Many people watching this have experienced something similar in their own lives. A rumor spreads. People talk about it. Assumptions grow. And before long, the story becomes larger than the facts themselves. Yet difficult moments like these can teach an important lesson. The strongest conclusions usually come from evidence, not excitement. And as the Meghan Markle age controversy slowly faded from the headlines, one final question remained. After all the speculation, the theories, the debates, and the viral discussions, what was the truth? The answer would bring the story back to where it started and reveal why this controversy became far bigger than the evidence ever suggested. After months of debate, endless social media posts, and countless theories, the story eventually returned to the same question that started everything. What was the truth? The answer turned out to be far less dramatic than many headlines suggested. The controversy was driven largely by a discrepancy found in an old publication, while official records and numerous independent sources consistently reported Meghan Markle's birth date as August 4, 1981. Despite the attention generated by the resurfaced magazine article, no widely accepted evidence emerged showing that her documented age was incorrect. Yet the story remained fascinating, not because it exposed a hidden secret, but because it revealed how modern celebrity culture works. A single detail from the past had captured global attention. Millions of people discussed it. Videos were created. Articles were written. Debates continued for weeks and months. And all of it began with one small inconsistency. What happened next says a lot about the world we live in today. Information moves faster than ever before. Rumors travel quickly. Questions spread instantly. But facts often require patience. The world watched a controversy unfold in real time, and many people saw firsthand how difficult it can be to separate speculation from evidence once a story gains momentum. For Meghan Markle, this was just one of many moments where public attention focused intensely on her personal life. Since entering the royal spotlight through her marriage to Prince Harry, nearly every aspect of her story has been examined, praised, criticized, and debated. Whether people support her or disagree with her, one thing is difficult to deny. Few modern public figures generate as much discussion, and perhaps that explains why the age controversy became such a major topic in the first place. It was never only about a number. It was about curiosity. It was about public fascination. And it was about the powerful way information spreads in the digital age. Before the story ends, think about your own view. Have you ever seen a rumor online that seemed convincing at first, but later turned out to be incomplete or misleading? Moments like those remind us how important it is to look beyond the headline and examine the evidence for ourselves. In the end, the biggest lesson from this controversy may not be about Meghan Markle at all. It may be about how easily questions can become headlines, headlines can become theories, and theories can become worldwide conversations. But this is only one story of a celebrity controversy that captured global attention. In our next documentary, we'll uncover another surprising chapter from the world of fame, power, and public perception, one that left millions asking what really happened behind the scenes. Even after the facts were examined and the debate began to slow down, one reality remained unchanged. Meghan Markle continued living under a level of public attention that very few people ever experience. For most people, a mistake in an old magazine would never become international news. It might be noticed by a few readers and quickly forgotten. But fame changes everything. Every public figure faces scrutiny. Yet members of the royal family operate under an even brighter spotlight. Their personal histories, relationships, careers, and public statements are often analyzed in extraordinary detail. For Meghan, that attention increased dramatically after her relationship with Prince Harry became public. Suddenly, details from different stages of her life were being revisited. Old interviews resurfaced. Childhood photographs appeared online. Former colleagues shared memories. Reporters reviewed events that had happened years earlier. The world wanted to know everything, but nobody knew how intense that attention would become. Supporters argued that Meghan was often judged more harshly than other public figures. Critics believed public scrutiny came with the territory of royal life. Meanwhile, headlines continued to appear from every direction. The age controversy was only one example, yet it showed how quickly a small question could grow into a global discussion when attached to a famous name. And that raises an important point. The public often sees the headlines. What they do not always see is the pressure that comes with being the subject of those headlines. Imagine waking up and discovering that millions of strangers are debating a detail about your life. Imagine seeing theories spread around the world before you even hear about them yourself. That level of attention can shape how a person is viewed for years. However, this story was not only about public curiosity. It was also about reputation. Because once a question enters the public conversation, it can remain there long after the evidence has been examined. And for Meghan Markle, managing public perception would become one of the biggest challenges of her entire public journey. When future historians look back at this story, they probably will not remember the exact magazine article. They will remember what the controversy revealed. A forgotten publication created worldwide discussion. A simple question became a viral mystery, and millions of people became part of a conversation built around a single detail. That is the power of modern media. Years ago, a printing error might have disappeared forever. Today, nothing truly disappears. Old magazines are scanned. Archived newspapers are uploaded. Photographs are preserved. Interviews can be watched decades after they were recorded. As a result, even the smallest inconsistency can return and capture public attention all over again. The Meghan Markle age debate became a perfect example of this reality. It showed how quickly information travels. It showed how easily speculation can spread. And most importantly, it showed why evidence matters. Because at the center of every viral controversy is the same challenge: separating what people believe from what can actually be verified. That lesson extends far beyond celebrities. It applies to everyone. In a world filled with headlines, clips, screenshots, and social media posts, the ability to pause, investigate, and examine facts has never been more important. And perhaps that is the most valuable takeaway from this story. Not the number in a magazine, not the online arguments, not the viral headlines, but the reminder that truth is rarely found in the loudest voice. It is usually found in the evidence. And while the internet may continue debating celebrity stories for years to come, the Meghan Markle age controversy will remain a fascinating case study in how modern fame, public curiosity, and viral information collide.